in the news for the Sebastian Rogers case. They failed my son. Sebastian Rogers' dad sues the sheriff and state agency over Tennessee teen's disappearance. More than 2 years after Sebastian Rogers vanished from his Hendersonville home, his father says the agency's charged with protecting his son and later finding him failed at both. Whoa. Okay, hold on. Let's play this.
Grainger offers professional-grade products, easy reordering online, and 20...
Sorry about that. We got to wait for the ad. Well, let's be open-minded here. We have seen corruption before. Let's be open-minded.
Sebastian Rogers has remained one of Tennessee's most enduring mysteries. Despite one of the largest missing child searches in state history, there have still been no arrests, no suspects identified, and few answers. Now, Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, is filing a federal lawsuit accusing the Sumner County Sheriff's Office of failing to properly investigate his son's disappearance. Rogers agreed to sit down and talk to me exclusively. And here in our extended conversation, we talked about the son he misses every day, the emotional toll of living without answers, his frustration with the investigation, and why he believes the search for Sebastian is far from over. We began with a simple question. How has he managed the weight of the past 2.5 years?
People say I'm strong and I got a lot of patience. People say that, but they have no idea. Being strong, I'm not strong. I'm just determined to find my son. Strength has nothing to do with it. The weight of the world that I feel on my shoulders every day, unless you've been in the situation of your child missing and not knowing where he's at, you don't have any clue.
Tell me about Sebastian.
He's my saving grace. Before him, I was probably heading down the wrong path in life. Then I had a child. It was like God gave me a purpose in life. And he still is. I just gotta find him.
From your heart, what do you need?
I need my son home. I need my son home.
Oh boy, guys. What do you think? No one knows, Kathy Shields, because Sebastian Rogers disappeared in the middle of the night without a trace. Sebastian Rogers was 15 when he went missing. This is his biological father. He lived with his biological mother and stepfather. And he's all alone. He's never remarried. He doesn't have any other children. He had Tony Mathis as his spokesperson. Tony Mathis recently died. But he left with no shoes. So he was barefoot. Let's see what else he had to say.
There's nothing else. My goal is from the very beginning is to find my son. And it will continue to be the goal until he is found. There is no other.
February 26th, 2024. How do you learn Sebastian is missing?
I got off of work at 7. We're not allowed to have cell phones. When I get to my truck, I got a text message saying 911, so I called the stepfather, and that's when he tells me Sebastian's missing.
When you get to Hendersonville, what do you first see?
So there's police and there's like tracking dogs, and there's just a bunch of people walking around in the yard, in and out of the house. And then I walk into the house, and I walk to his room.
His room is the first place you go?
Yeah. I want to see what his room looks like.
Why was that important to you?
It's the last place he supposedly was. What's going on in the room states what I need to look for.
He's right.
Did anything seem off?
A couple things seemed off. I don't know why, his switch is on the floor plugged into the wall. The closet's a mess. There's things all over the floor. It just didn't seem right.
Okay, so have we ever heard that his switch was plugged in and sitting on the floor? I don't know if I've ever heard that. But why would that be odd? I wonder. And I wish these reporters would follow up, like, where would you expect his switch to be? With him? Why was it odd that it was plugged in and on the floor? I mean, we know very little about Sebastian's room, the condition of his room. All right, here we go.
It just didn't seem right.
This has been described as the largest search for a missing child in Tennessee history. Did you think a search that big would find at least one clue?
Would have been nice. How can you have 7 different agencies and hundreds of people working on stuff and not find any speck of evidence that he was there?
People don't just vanish into thin air.
No, they don't.
The idea Sebastian just walked away from the home without his phone never made sense to you.
No, sir.
Why not?
Because it's not my son. It's not something that I could envision him doing.
See, I used to be very sus that he had something to do with it. Directly. I really did. I thought directly he was involved with something. As the time has gone on and seeing him do things like this, why would someone who's guilty of doing anything or having anything to do with it go to these lengths? You know what I mean? So what I would want to know is, usually was his room clean? Why was that odd? The closet thing bugs me a little bit because if you recall, Chris Proudfoot has told the story before that there was something in Sebastian's room with money in it or something. Do you guys recall that? In his closet that was found after the cops had been there, and Chris brought that to them or called them and had them come pick it up. Do you guys remember that? He told the story before. So he says his closet was a mess. I don't know if that's normal. Like, we don't know if that's normal. Because for a 15-year-old to have a messy room, that's normal to me.
I've stated this before, that for him to leave that house without his shoes, without a coat, without his backpack, without Legos in his pocket, taking his switch or grabbing his phone, he would have had to been running. Somebody's in the house and he's trying to get away.
Were investigators at the home when you arrived inside?
So that was pretty precise. Somebody's in the house and he's running to get away. You're right, Salty, but I didn't see it that way in the beginning.
To you?
No, sir.
Why not?
Because it's not my son. It's not something that I could envision him doing. I've stated this before, that for him to leave that house without his shoes, without a coat, without his backpack, without Legos in his pocket, taking his switch or grabbing his phone, he would have had to been running. Somebody's in the house and he's trying to get away.
Were investigators at the home when you arrived inside?
Yeah, there was an investigator sitting at the dining room table.
Was he talking to anyone?
Nope.
Was
he
he
just sitting there?
Just sitting there?
Yep.
Not looking at anything?
Nope.
Was the home secured like a crime scene?
I walked in and nobody even asked me who I was.
See, now this is where I start to get up very sus about how they investigated this. It's not the first time we've seen, plunders. We've got Nancy Guthrie, who disappeared in the middle of the night, 84-year-old woman, gone, poof. We have Sebastian Rogers, gone, poof. Yeah, I don't pretty hate he said such weird things. I don't know. I think he might just be a weird dude.
You were just free to walk through the home?
I was free to walk anywhere.
In the first few days, How difficult was that for you to see what is unfolding?
I was searching for my son.
You just couldn't sit around and wait for an answer?
I've put over 100,000 miles on my truck, going down any rabbit hole I can find, any tip that happens to come in.
Why does that fall on you?
It falls on me because I don't believe anybody else is doing it.
But that should be the job of the lead investigative agency, the sheriff's office.
Should be.
Do you believe they failed your son?
I believe they have.
Do you believe they failed you?
I know they have. Because it's 2.5 years and there's no nothing. They won't even do a press conference. And when they did...
Dude, he's pitiful. This is hard to watch. Thank you, Ishi, for your $4.99 super chat. I appreciate that. I've wondered since the day he left, where could he be? I thought of him today. Man. Right there, he was just so pitiful. Oh, my God. Play, damn it.
Should be.
Do you believe they failed your son?
I believe they have.
Do you believe they failed you?
I know they have. Because it's 2.5 years and there's no nothing. They won't even do a press conference. And when they did do a press conference, they didn't even have a picture of my son up. How can you not have a picture of the missing child so people know who you're looking for? That does not make sense.
At first, did you have faith they would find him?
Yeah. I have no faith now.
When did that faith begin to fade?
When they started not telling me any information.
When did you stop waiting for answers and start questioning the investigation?
Probably within a month. When they kept telling me if I had a child missing, this is the detective that I want on the case.
Within a month. Within a month. Hey, thank you, Salty. Wow, what a generous super chat. Thank you for the 20. She says, Jay, I just realized how you are versatile with your podcast channels. You probably spend most of the time configuring to avoid fatigue over a few specific complaints and behaviors from social media influencers. Thank you, Salty. I appreciate that.
And when that detective doesn't answer phone calls and tells me he only wants to deal with text messages, I'm sorry, text messages are very impersonal.
Do you feel the sheriff's office started to ignore you?
Yes. They don't want to answer questions.
Yes, Seth is suing the Sumner County Sheriff's Department and other state agencies. We have just started watching his newest interview. But I believe that this is pretty extensive. I believe his lawsuit is in here. We're going to read through all of this, guys, so get comfortable.
I think they should be answering questions.
They should answer your questions because you are his father.
Correct. But at the same point in time, I don't think they put any effort in finding my son anymore.
Has that silence or lack of communication
says a lot. It says a lot when they won't speak to me. To me, it says that they know that they screwed the pooch.
That silence lets you know in your heart they didn't do their job right.
Correct.
Since the ground search ended, one press conference, one detective on the case, no reward, 18 months of silence. What does that tell you about how much the sheriff's office cares about your son?
They don't care about him at all.
In the past, you have said the Sumner County Sheriff's Office should step.
Now, I don't know if I believe that. Hit the thumbs up, guys.
Aside and let the FBI take over this case. Why hasn't that happened?
My personal opinion is ego. And they don't appreciate that. There shouldn't be ego involved. It should just be urgency. Urgency to find the missing child. Ego should never step in when it comes to a professional job.
If there's any way possible, Sebastian is able to see this, you and I speaking, what would you want him to know?
I love you, son, and I am looking for you, and I won't stop until I find you. I don't know if he's got a pillow. I don't know if his belly's full. I don't know if he's got clothes. I don't know if he's got shoes. I don't know if he's being taken care of. And all these things hurt. All of them hurt. I don't know what's going on with my child.
He's also suing the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. So it's 2 federal lawsuits. This is to give you guys an update. Seth Rogers has filed 2 federal lawsuits against the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and the Tennessee Department of Children's Services.
I just know that he's not where he should be.
Do you believe Sebastian's still alive?
Every day. No evidence otherwise. I don't understand how people can think that he's deceased.
You need your son to be alive.
I need my son found. There's no room in it for him to be deceased. He's alive. He's just lost.
Granger offers professional grade.
Dang it. Okay. Wow. All right. This comes on the heels, if you guys haven't forgotten, of Bullhorn Betty filing a federal lawsuit against the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. So we have Seth and Bullhorn Betty with federal lawsuits against Sumner County. Well, she's suing Eric Craddock. And she filed hers in May. Bullhorn Betty filed hers in May. This just came out 2 hours ago. So let's read through some of this. The lawsuits represent the first formal public legal accounting of how government agencies handled both Sebastian's welfare and his disappearance, and could force the release of investigative records, internal communications, and sworn testimony that have never been made public. I say go Seth. Hey, Kimbo, good to see you. I say go Seth. Hey, Paige Turner. Hey, Vinay. I think this is actually a good thing. Transparency and accountability. What have they done? I don't think so, Ostrich. Both lawsuits are now moving through federal court. If the cases proceed, attorneys could seek investigative reports, internal communications, child welfare records, and sworn depositions from law enforcement and DCS officials. I think Seth needs to get to the bottom of this, and if it takes discovery, it takes discovery, because there's something weird. It's never set right with me